Welcome, guys, to the Tea Drop, where the brew is strong and there's lots to talk about. Today's drop, honestly, has been sitting on the stove for a few years now. Enzo Amore and Big Cass reportedly are heading allegedly back to the WWE. And before the comments go crazy, before anyone types a single word, I need you to hear me clearly. Few things can be true at the same time. We are not here to cancel anyone. We are here to look at the receipts so far. Every single one that we can. Here's what is on this drop today. We're breaking down what Big Cass actually built in AEW and whether this departure was mutual or a fall of grace. Then we pull up to the full Enzo timeline. 2018, what actually happened, and what 8 years outside of WWE looked like for him. Then we're going to ask the real question. Has either of these men done the work to earn this return? And we are hitting the creator's wall because the IWC right now is loud on this one. So strap in. Let's get into this drop, right? Fightful Select, Sean Ross Sapp, you know the man, confirmed this week that big old Bill, the man you know as Big Cass, gave formal notice to AEW that he will not be resigning when his contract expires. Now, I want to be very specific about that language. He was not released. He was not cut. He gave notice. His contract ran out and he chose to walk it. That's a very important distinction because it tells you exactly how he sees his options. Now, per Fightful, he is expected to return to WWE and reunite with Enzo Amore. Now, good old Dave Meltzer reported that WWE's current plan for Enzo, our good old boy Enzo, is to bring him back to NXT first, which is crazy. Honestly, it's crazy, but not bad. Instead of the main roster, he goes to NXT. It makes sense since he and Big Cass were more over in NXT than WWE main roster. The crowd didn't, when he did their intro promo, you can't teach that. It never really hit as hard as it did in NXT Black and Gold. Honestly, I don't know if it'll hit well in today's NXT. We don't know. We will have to see. But it gets interesting. WWE went on record publicly and denied being in any talks with either man. They said it out loud. Then Triple H was asked directly about the rumors, and he confirmed. WWE has reached out to him. Somebody is not telling the whole truth here, though, because of that. That is not honestly unusual in this business. We know how WWE moves, but the timeline is clear, as at least of this recording. Enzo has not officially signed a contract, as far as we know. Big Cass AEW deal is done, though. He is out. What happens next is part of the conversations today. Now, when it comes to Big Bill's AEW run, what he actually built, let's give Big Cass his credit because this part of the story is genuinely underrated. William Morsey, that is his name, given his legal name out there because it's out there in the public. So don't come at me, guys. After WWE released him in June 2018, and he went and we will get into the why in a moment. The man did not fold. He went to rehab. He dealt with his alcohol addiction head on. He even sat down on Chris Van Vliet.
So if you weren't ready for recovery the first time.
Yeah, it became a matter of life and death.
Wow.
Yeah, it was, I had a few more seizures after the one in Philadelphia. After I went to rehab, I had a few more seizures later
ones
on.
Are in private?
Yeah, they were. Family and my girlfriend and her family.
This is some cool mid-era Chris Van Vliet when he started turning into the GOAT he was, by the way.
Awful. And it got to the point where I knew I was going to die. It was just a matter of if I keep going down this path, I was going to die. And there was a point where maybe I didn't even care about that. But for some reason, call it divine inspiration, at this point in time, I did care. And I was like, you can't die. Like, you cannot. So you got to do something about this. I could have easily given up, but I don't know, something in some instinctual thing told me you got to keep going. And the hardest thing to do is to reach out for help.
And who'd you reach out to?
I reached out to people in my sober network, people that I was in rehab with, my roommate from rehab.
So he's been dealing with it for a while, at least to this interview, 2021. So he's been working it out.
People from my AA home group and people that are in my recovery network, and they immediately helped me out. And I got on a plane to come back to Tampa to go to rehab.
And now Tampa's home for you.
Tampa is home. It was home for a while,
right?
Too, yeah.
But you were living with Diamond Dallas Page for a while.
I was with him for on and off for a few months, but I Tampa has been my home since 2017, but I was up in New Jersey and New York for a while also. I didn't know what I was at. I had nothing. I was just all over the place, man.
How much did Diamond Dallas Page help out in this journey you've been on?
Well, he helped out.
Diamond Dallas Page is a real one because he's been helping a lot of wrestlers get out of whichever their respective slumps are. So if they ever need an issue, if they ever have an issue, Diamond Dallas Page always been the one to help a lot of people. So he should get a freaking award of some sort for all this generosity he's done.
He was one of the first people to give me a platform and encourage me to share what I was going through.
Yeah.
Again, because if I didn't do that, then people can't relate to it. And I think that was a big first step, was me, admitting I think I admitted it in a promo, like backstage after I wrestled Moxley, but the video that DDPY put out really got the word out about what I was going through.
Yeah. People think this is easy. Like, people think it's just like check into a program and magically you're fixed.
No.
And people say
it's
like, well,
it's not that easy, guys. If anyone thinks that, that's on them.
I never thought of that. That's some brilliant stuff right there. It's prophetic, man. Like great life advice. Just stop. Oh, okay. Yeah, people do think it's just that easy. And to be honest with you, I'm ashamed to say this, but there was a point in time many years ago where I thought the same thing. Where I didn't think I had a problem. And I just thought, yeah, it's just that easy.
It's not. It's hard to. It's really hard to stop. You can't just stop. But what you can do is set up a goal and be committed. And it's hard to continue that momentum and commitment.
That person's struggling.
Yeah.
So I understand why some people think that, because
thank you, Big Rudy, for the 2 months of membership. Much appreciated, man.
Was one of those people many moons ago.
What was the breakthrough moment for you?
Breakthrough moment for me? Finally admitting that maybe I don't know everything. Admitting that I shouldn't be in control anymore. It's hard to give up control, but it's also hard for your ego to let you say you don't have all the answers. Yeah. And boy, did I think I had them all for a very long time. And I thought I was fooling everybody, and I'm going to figure this all out by myself. Everybody else can do that program stuff, but I'm going to do it my way. And I woke up one morning and I came to the realization there is no my way. There's no option C in this thing. Yeah. There's no door number 3. It's either you got to do what everybody else is doing, reach out and ask them for help and do what they've done, or suffer the really, really horrible consequences. There's no other game plan.
And in
what he's saying, that takes courage to admit to, and he pushed himself hard to get through the other side. Then eventually he went to Impact Wrestling in 2021, and he branded himself as Maurice. He rebuilt his body, he tightened his work, he proved he could still go at a high level. Then AEW came. He was rebranded in AEW as Big Bill. He leaned into the towering enforcer type role, similar to other wrestlers that you know. And then on October 7th of 2023 on AEW Collision, he and Ricky Saints, they defeated FTR to become tag champs. Then that becomes probably one of his biggest real accomplishments and a main roster level type of role. In 2023 AEW, the tag division was stacked. They had FTR was the gold standard in tag team wrestling worldwide. And beating them for those belts meant something for both Ricky Starks and Big Bill. They held those titles until February 2024, when Sting and Darby Allin took it from them. That loss was part of one of the most emotional send-offs in wrestling for years, and he was part of it. So here's my thoughts about this when it comes to Big Cass. He did a solid, legitimate work, hands down. He had real tag title reign. He rebuilt his reputation. That was honestly in complete ruins in 2018. Was he top singles star? No, unfortunately not. Was he a featured main eventer long term? Not even. But the rebuild, regardless of those things, was real. Now, the real question is that, honestly, I don't think nobody's asking at this point, what was AEW actually was going to do with him in 2025? Because after the Sting loss, the booking got quiet on him. He floated around. That's it. And when the booking gets quiet like that in AEW, you start looking at your options. So this is honestly a mutual separation between him and AEW. But I think it's closer to both sides knowing that honestly his contract was not getting renewed, in all honesty. But he wanted more, to be honest. AEW gave him what they could, honestly, but he is moving on. And for that part, I respect on his end. Now, let's talk about Enzo Amore. Enzo Amore, we have to get to the part of this drop that the IWC cannot agree on. And I need you to hear me clearly when I talk about this, because I'm going to give you the facts, all of them, at least what we know in terms of facts. And then I'm going to give you my opinion if you guys honestly care. Now, when it comes to this man, in January 2018, Enzo Amore was Cruiserweight Champion of the world at this time. But unfortunately, that same month, a woman named, what was her name? A woman named Philomena Shainin, sorry if I butchered it, made a public accusation on social media claiming that Enzo had essayed her in a Phoenix hotel room in October 2017. WWE suspended him immediately 2 days later. He was released on January 22nd of 2018. He was fired. As Enzo himself has stated publicly, he woke up that morning at his mother's house, right, as the Cruiserweight Champion of the world, and then Phoenix police opened a formal investigation on him. In May 2018, a few months later, the case was closed. The investigation was closed. No charges were filed. The Phoenix police official statement read that, and I'm quoting this directly, prior to the announcement, Shainin had also deleted all of her social media. So this is what saying. On January 22nd, 2018, Eric Arndt, also known as Enzo Amore of the World Wrestling Entertainment, was accused via internet and social media of misconduct during an alleged incident in Phoenix, Arizona. Several months earlier, prior to that date, no law enforcement or any other official has contacted Mr. Arndt regarding such claim. However, after the careless, unfounding tirade on social media, Mr. Arndt learned of these accusations when his counsel reached out on Phoenix police. Before releasing him on January 23rd, WWE suspended Arndt on January 22nd and released a brief statement saying WWE had a zero tolerance for material involving say or any type of thing in relation to that. Now, a representative for the Phoenix Police Department stated that this case has been investigated to its fullest extent. While working with Maricopa County Attorney's Office, the case has been closed. This would not prelude the case from reopening should new evidence come to light. And then apparently Shainin also deleted all her social media online. Those are what they're stating online. It's not an opinion. It's all on all the cases from this event. Now, Big Bill is just a Big Show type, a spectacle. Yeah. He's good as a tag team partner then, because that's what was good with the Big Show as well. Now, the complete legal record apparently is that an accusation was made, right? An investigation was open. The investigation eventually was closed and no charges were filed. Now, what happened to Enzo after that, though? He pivoted to music. He ended up going by a music name Enzo. Then eventually he went to the real one. He worked the independent circuit. He kept his name out there. He had to make himself still believable. Now, in February of this year, he posted on a promo on X targeting Paul Heyman while appearing at the ECW arena, holding his old WWE 205 Live title belts like receipts. Let's take a look.
Everybody knows you put the two. That's why your vision sucks, Paul. Yeah.
Damn, not your vision sucks, Paul.
Just like ECW. Your brainchild you dropped off at Planned Parenthood in Philadelphia. You're the Larry Flint of this business. You exploited every fetish-having Philadelphia fan dumb enough to incriminate themselves at a furniture outlet watching a snuff film. Bro,
no, he didn't.
EC ain't nothing but the VHS tape kids once supposed to have. The Girls Gone Wild of pro wrestling. And on March 21st, Fourth Rope will be at the ECW arena doing something you never did, called sports entertainment.
Oh,
you
shit.
wrestled for Asia, I wouldn't call it wrestling. If you got in a ring at ECW or anywhere near it, none of your titles count. None of your championships count. No, you deserve a plaque.
No
so,
way.
Paul, if you need some, all you gotta do is scream, "Get the tables!" and look in the mouths of all the fat Philadelphia filthy fans. Don't worry, they'll be open. He's synced up! He's synced up!
Damn.
He's synced up!
He's getting his ass kicked.
He's synced up!
Anyway, we're just going to leave it at this one. Let's put a picture for the next part because I needed this. Anyway, he held his old titles and belts and he started crapping on ECW and Paul Heyman. And the IWC noticed by May of this year, Fightful reported that Enzo has started turning down indie dates. When a guy, honestly, or a female, starts saying no to indie money, It might be because he is waiting on something bigger, or she. It could be a sign. Now, when it comes to this for me, and where I land on this, is that there are no charges. The investigation closed, at least for now, based on the facts that are presented. That is the complete legal record at this point. But here's the harder question. WWE did not fire Enzo because of a conviction. They fired him, honestly, because the PR crisis was immediate and the optics were catastrophic in that moment. And honestly, he was a small guy, so he's easy to get rid of. They didn't hide him like other wrestlers that were accused of something. And now, 8 years later, the same company is reportedly bringing him back. The question is not whether Enzo is legally guilty at this point, because as far as we know, he is not. His record is clear. And the person that blamed him disappeared from social media. So take it for what you may. At this point, the question is more now, what does this rehiring say about the process? Did WWE sit down with him, have the conversation, set conditions, or is this nostalgia heat and cheap pops dressed up as business logic? Because the difference between these two things are important. The accountability question, honestly, the path or so forth. Oh my God, get this out of here. Let me ask you something. Is there a path back in this business when it comes to them and WWE? I think the honest answer is yes, but it has to look like something real. Let's give an example outside of WWE. EC3, let's look at him. Ethan Carter, you guys remember him. Swear to God, not a big fan of him. He had a weird, when he turned around and he looked like he was confused when he did his EC3 entrance in WWE. Never mind. Anyway, beyond the point of this story, Ethan Carter, after his second WWE or his whatever tenure as WWE ended in April 2020, he did not just wait for a call. He ended up launching his own promotion, Control Your Narrative, CYN, his own independent promotion. He held also during that time the NWA World title. He went back to Impact. He built something. It wasn't perfect, but the effort to create something outside the machine was tangible. That was a reinvention with his purpose, with a purpose, more than not even just survival. Now, when it comes to Matt Hardy, let's talk about Matt Hardy. I don't have a picture of him. I should have pulled up. Let's broken Matt Hardy Impact era. There you go. Yes, I spelled it wrong. There we go. Broken Matt Hardy in the whole broken era in Impact Wrestling. It wasn't just a gimmick for him. It was a man who has been through, honestly, real darkness. He had some personal chaos in his own world. He had his own substance struggle and came out of the other side with something honestly creative and something that really worked. When he came back in WWE in 2017, you could feel the journey behind it. Now, here's when it comes, after saying this is my honest assessment when it comes to Enzo. 8 years is a long time. He worked the independents. He kept his name visible. He had moments. But here is the question I'm going to sit with. What is the actual going to be the real invention of Enzo Amore and Big Cass? Turning down the indie bookings while waiting for WWE call is not really a reinvention. It's more of a holding pattern, honestly. Going through, them going through a real process, putting themselves with accountability, giving that conversation of accountability, being held to a standard. Honestly, that's more of a reinvention. Where's the EC3 path? The EC3 path that I was talking about, that is something built outside the machine that proves some value. The Matt Hardy thing says it the same. He went through darkness, came back with more depth. Same thing with Cody and doing the all-in promotion, eventually starting AEW, right? Even Drew McIntyre, he went outside, he got fired because he was too young and too stubborn to do things, and he came back a different man. And everyone loves him for it. What is Enzo's path in 2026? We don't know that yet. And that uncertainty is where we're going to see the IWC split, in all honesty. Half the community is going to say the case is closed. The man was never charged, let him work. The other half is saying, I don't know, what's the best way to say it? WWE has a wellness policy, right? And a code of conduct. What message does this send to the roster, specifically to the women on that roster? Well, there's been others that have been dealing with that, so they should ask them too. But anyway, what do I know? I'm just a fan. I don't know. You heard Triple H. I don't know shit. Anyway, where in the world do both of these arguments not deserve any airtime? in the weeks to come. They both do, honestly. They can all be true at the same time for all we know. He may be legally clear, and WWE standards should require more than just charges were dropped before you hand someone a contract. Unfortunately, one does not cancel the other. Now, the IWC reacting, all right? Let's talk about a little creator role time, because the IWC is not sleeping on this one. The takes are everywhere when it comes to these two returning. And I want you to react to 3 perspectives circling right now when it comes to these two. One perspective when they return is the first group saying is, give Enzo a chance. He was never convicted. This is cancel culture at its worst. Here's, to me, where I land when someone talks about this. When no charges were filed, statistically legit, statement-wise, it is true. You know, they can say all they want, but now Enzo has the paperwork that says, well, I've never been charged. And it's accurate until proven incorrect. And I said it again, until they can prove it, he can continue working, right? But accountability in a public-facing company is not exclusively about criminal conviction. It is about standards, right? Standards, not just the criminal paperwork, right? A billion-dollar public company in 2026, especially under TKO, their standards should reflect that reality. The question is not, was he convicted? The question is, what process did you run and what did you find? That is a different conversation. How do I not? Rudy, what are you talking about over there in the chat? Now, the second perspective is if they return. In all honesty, when you think about it, broad picture, WWE has brought back worse. Let's be real. I mean, we can talk about the man that used to be in charge. They employed Vince McMahon for how long? And that one hits differently because it is not wrong. WWE has a track record on accountability. It's always been uneven when it comes to this company. That is the charitable way to put it, in all honesty. So when WWE denies the Enzo return talks publicly, 1 week and Triple H confirms conversations and nets, we get new receipts in real time. Now, the third potential perspective in the IWC is that they just want to see the tag team back. The nostalgia when it comes to this is real. The how you doing hits every time for some people still. And honestly, I understand that. The chemistry between these two were undeniable. They sucked when they got split. The crowd connection was real when they worked together, but nostalgia is not a values framework. In all honesty, in my opinion, it is a shortcut. And the IWC deserves better than nostalgia being the answer to a serious question. What I will say is this, and the takes on this are more nuanced, to be honest, than people are giving the IWC credit for. Most people I'm reading are not saying ban Enzo forever. Most people are saying show us the process. That is a completely reasonable ask, honestly. But anyway, the man did the personal work. He got when it comes to big cats, the man did his personal work. And so him coming back, I'm not mad at it. He got sober. He went to AEW. He won a real title. He showed he could perform at a high level. And with Sting too, and Darby Allin, he rebuilt something that was broken. If WWE books him correctly, and that is a genuine, if there is something there to work with, he'll be fine. Now, Enzo coming back, that is the conversation we should all be having before a contract gets signed. Not because of guilt. The legal record is clear, and I have laid it out. But because WWE is asking 40,000 people to cheer this man in an arena, they are asking their roster to share the space. Yeah, but the WWE sees one thing. You're right, Chef Maku money. They are asking the roster to share the space. They are asking the public to accept this move that requires a process, not just a signature. Now, where in the world does signing Enzo make a business sense? Unless the goal is a cheap nostalgia merch sales, ticket sales, money sales, especially towards SummerSlam. Why not? So the answer is, in a universe where the process is real, that's the answer. Where the conversations happen, where standards were applied and documented. Right now, we do not have proof of that universe yet. Not yet. I will watch this story closely, guys. We'll see. I'm sure this is not the last time we talk about this. We will definitely talk about it later on. And we'll update this in a future drop when more information is real. But for now, the IWC deserves answers, honestly. The roster deserves answers. And until those answers come, we will keep the brew being strong. And the pot is going to continue staying on. Look at that. Me doing something cute, wordy, trying something new, guys. Always. All right. Anyway, before we close this out, it is time for the chat to speak out. One word. Should WWE bring back Enzo to the main roster or NXT? One word, and you can go from there. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and as always, if the T hit right, hit the like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video.